Today, I'm going to be talking around going back to basics and focusing specifically on deep account research and how you can start to craft a compelling point of view. I guess before I get into it, I just wanted to set the scene and provide a little bit of context. And I'm going to tell you a personal story, which I'm hoping many people on the call can relate to. So like most people, I fell into sales over a decade ago, and I very much worked my way up the ranks. It's safe to say there's been a lot of learnings along the way. And prior to Salesforce, as James just mentioned, I was given the opportunity to lead 2 strategic accounts. At the time, they had really high potential, but were pretty much just doing kind of runway tactical work with us. It was in this role that I really experienced the impact of taking the time to get to know these customers, their respective industries, and really leaning in with expertise in a corner of their world that they really cared about. Admittedly, at the time, I had a team of brilliant consultants that really helped kind of build this with me. But over a 6 to 12 month period, I really saw the relationships transform from, I guess, where we were seen as a vendor to very much a strategic partner. And it was amazing for me to experience that shift where we gained access to new and more senior stakeholders. We were unlocking much bigger budgets, and we started to kind of really take more and more work from the competition. I then joined Salesforce at the tail end of the pandemic, and it was really when that kind of surge in demand for SaaS, as companies were really accelerating their digital transformation plans. I was really fortunate. I had a really successful first year, and anyone that knows about the ramp time in Salesforce, it was quite good going. So I finished the year really excited, but was told that my team was going to get disbanded. So at the time, I took another little leap of faith and agreed to join a newly forming team where we were building out a new industry vertical. So February the 1st here, I'm eager to make an impact. I found myself sort of navigating this new role with a new team, with a new leader. I'm trying to kind of figure out what the go-to-market in this territory should be. Didn't really have any pipeline. So I was pretty much kind of starting from scratch in what at the time felt like a really uncertain market. What none of us foresaw at the time was that the tech downturn was about to hit. We started to see budgets tightening, layoffs starting to take off, and consumer confidence was really starting to decline. I sell MarTech, which presented a slightly interesting challenge, as we all know that marketing budgets tend to be among the first to get cut in a downturn. And then in parallel to this, we as sellers have really had to adapt to a new age of buyers. I think off the back of the pandemic, we've all experienced that kind of fundamental shift in terms of how B2B buyers actually want to buy. They've become more educated than they ever have been before. It's harder to get meetings because, let's face it, customers want to do their research before they have to spend time engaging with a sales rep. There's a really interesting report that Gartner pushed out on the future of sales, and I just wanted to kind of pull out a couple of interesting stats. So 99% of B2B buyers want to self-serve for parts of their journey, and only 17% of a buyer's time is actually spent with a sales rep during the cycle. I guess what this means for us as sellers is that every interaction that we have with a customer before we even meet them is more important now than it ever has been before. So circling back to the theme of today, how can we stand out in this landscape? And for me, it really boils down to going back to basics. So it's about being a student of your customer's business and learning as much as you can about the person that you're trying to engage, their company, their current scape, their landscape, so we can start to navigate their world more effectively. Now, I will point out it's not about becoming an expert in their business, but rather how you can help their business and the problems that you can solve for companies like them. So for me, this first step is really kind of identify your target set of accounts. And when you go into this level of depth, the rule of thumb is less is more. Focus more time on fewer accounts that align with your ideal customer profile and you've identified still have a need that can potentially be met. Start macro with the industry landscape. So what's in the news? What's their total addressable market? Try and establish those industry-specific opportunities and threats. And then it's about honing in on the company. So what's their web experience like? When you look in the annual report, read the message to shareholders, read it carefully and also a bit skeptically, and find out how the company's performed. Where does the leadership team want to take the company? What's the strategy to get there? Plow into the numbers. In my world, this could mean that they want to double their revenues in the next 5 years. Maybe they want to unlock new revenue streams like subscription management, or perhaps they've done a huge amount of M&A and there is a strategic initiative to consolidate all of their systems so that they can reduce cost. I guess what you're really trying to identify is what their desired end state could be. So you can tie it back to a corporate level initiative. And once you have this, it can really help you to start and form that initial value hypothesis on how you think you might be able to help. There's a whole host of goodness that you can find in customer reviews and the job ads they put out. This was one that I really only clocked onto recently, but when companies are trying to hire, they're typically trying to hire for a pain that they're trying to solve for. Again, just to give you an example in my world, perhaps they've put out a job ad because they need a new VP of growth marketing. Now, this could be tied directly to a growth initiative, or it could mean that they've got a customer acquisition cost. Maybe when I finally meet the CMO, I need to dig into whether they've got a challenge around that or what the metrics they are that they're looking to drive. So I do a lot of research trying to profile execs. We all know, particularly in the enterprise space, we've got bigger buying committees to cater to. There is the growing importance of the CFO. I got stung really badly on not involving a CFO earlier in a deal cycle last year. So beyond LinkedIn, you can find a wealth of information on podcasts, interviews, thought leadership they've authored. Who are they connected to? Do you have execs that are connected with them? Follow them on Twitter, find out what they're saying. And as I'm doing this, I'm literally writing direct quotes of things that they've said tied to an area that I think I might be able to help with. Stats are another great thing. Unearth these and extract them where you can, because they're things that you can either kind of play back down the line or you can use as benchmarks as well. The next stage for me is really to consolidate the research and try and draw some conclusions on what I think their goals could be, identifying kind of any obstacles and opportunities for them. And I always kind of save a space of documenting kind of prompts and areas that I want to kind of dive into in more detail with. For me, this typically forms a whiteboard. I love Miro. It's living and breathing and you can iterate it over time. You can also share it with your team so they can kind of start to get a feel for what this company is looking to achieve. The objective is really to build that initial point of view. So think about value stories that may resonate with this customer based on examples of where you've helped similar customers, just to prove that you've done your homework and use it really to like kind of North Star to influence and guide you. One other thing, and I will wrap up in a moment, is putting yourself in the shoes of your customer's customer. So I work with front-end technology, and one of the tools that I use is mystery shopping. This is something that we should all be doing more of, and I don't see it enough. And you can use it at so many stages in the sales cycle. So you can use it as a hook in prospecting. What exec is not going to want to sit down to you and learn about your experience as their customer? I've used it in SICs, which is our innovation centers, where we get C-suite to come to our office. And off the back of presenting my experiences, I've had top-down referrals to execs that haven't been engaging with me. I've even used it to kind of kick off workshops with customers where I want to start them to kind of think a little bit differently than perhaps how they have previously thought around things as we go through different exercises. So I'm conscious of time. I have no idea how long I've been going for. So let me just summarize 3 key actionable takeaways. I think the market is tough for all of us right now, and we all have our own unique challenges. To stand out, let's just try and immerse yourself in your customer's world. Be a student of their business. Don't be afraid to dive deep. The groundwork that you do will lay a really strong foundation and opportunity to differentiate yourself. Next is on crafting your initial perspective. There is no right or wrong with this. Embrace a problem-solving mindset and really view the customer's situation through a thoughtful lens. Remember, the point of view is there so you can test it, and it will enable you to kind of show up in service to your customer and expedite your journey to really trying to understand them and the problems that you can help them with. And finally, it's about tying everything that you do back to how you can help. Every client is unique, but chances are you or one of your colleagues has helped a customer on a similar journey. My domain expertise is all around the challenges that high-tech companies have and how I can solve them. And the value stories that you have are really great to kind of add credibility and really provide that kind of tangible value to your customers. So yeah, thank you so much, everyone, for your engagement. And yeah, feel free if you want to kind of connect with me and continue anything.
Really appreciate it. Very well articulated, great structure to your talk, and it's never easy to open up an event. So thank you, Sarah.